Okay, LJ, we're live. So, everybody out there, I just want to pop on here today, and I'm going to be talking with LJ Lubo. LJ Lubo, he is, I love your name. I always call you Lubo, and, it's just like people now know who I'm talking about. So, but that guy. Anyway, so he's got some new technology, and you all know that I'm all about right now creating that um, extra line of income for you. I think that if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we've got to start looking at shoring up some of our revenue streams. And well, we've learned a few things over this pandemic. Another one is definitely people are getting their hair colored a little later and leaving a larger space between. And we've got this great divide right now. We've got half of our clients, or half of the clients that I work with, that are not as busy because people aren't frequenting the salons as much. And then we've got a whole nother package of you that are just working too many absurd hours because you don't have as many staff in. And so when I start thinking about how we can kind of grow and lift up and make use of these new trends in consumers' visits, I just sort of fell in love with the technology that LJ has sort of brought to the front. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of got started with this here.
Yeah, so Heather, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's always fun chatting with you. And we've done this a few times, and we've been on Clubhouse with groups of people, and the discussions are always so lively. But thanks for everything that you're saying. And absolutely, we agree with you wholeheartedly. Look, Thrivo is all about bringing salons into the 21st century, modernizing what you do so it increases your revenue and grows your profit. And so we ended up with this technology that you're talking about today called the Omni One. And we ended up with this because we saw in the beginning of the pandemic, salons were stuck between a rock and a hard place. You either had to decide, hey, I'm not going to earn any revenue during lockdowns and stick to my artistic beliefs, or I'm going to put it into condiment containers, hair color, and deliver it to people, knowing that it oxidizes extremely quickly. And that even, and we've found this from testing, is that the plastic causes allergic reactions in people. And we're like, this is not a good state for our industry to be in. And we only thought it was going to last a few weeks. But regardless, we took our engineering expertise and we invented the first ever system that preserves and seals dispensed and mixed hair color. So what that's done is it allowed during the lockdowns people to send out hair color to their clients. So their clients didn't have to go to Box Color or Madison Reed or those other online services, which I know, Heather, you're going to be talking about shortly. But since then, we've seen that it's really changed the business model for salons. With salons being open, even when in Canada they were still closed, our technology really took off in the US because top stylists and salon owners saw that it was a way for them to expand their revenue and step away from this old paradigm where salons are brick and mortar only. We're in a digital world, and that's where we really need to operate in and leverage our skills. And this is the greatest way to do it because, I mean, we know a lot of people color their hair outside of salon, and we also know at the same time people want more service outside of that.
You have a client that you work with, the Color Bar, and I hear him talk about this is like his third gen because he already recognized the need before, when we had these shutdowns. And a lot of the clients I work with, they literally had their clients going, oh, come on, just give me a little bit, let's go home. Help me out here. Because I think that, as Heather and I were talking yesterday, you can tell the difference when you look at who's home. You can walk down the mall and go and see the difference clearly, who goes to the salon and who doesn't. I mean, there's an obvious difference in quality. So you've got these clients knocking on the back door and the owners who are feeling like this, hey, come over here, I gotta, and so they really did want to fill that need. And I found that by the way, anybody who's listening here, I would suggest that you go to Thrivo on Instagram and follow them and just take a look at some of the clients and some of the ways that they're using the machine. Anyway, tell me a little bit about that, because I know his business is predominantly colored.
Yeah, so the name of his salon is Color Lab, but Color Bar would also be really good. So he's a color-focused salon, and he's based out of Toronto, Ontario. And as far as we can tell, and we've done research, he was the first salon to offer color kits. He kind of saw the trend, what was happening with the pandemic. So early on, he realized something needed to be done. But his doing something meant going to the dollar store and getting Ziploc bags and sippy cups. And that was his first real color kit. And from there, he had another iteration. And I think ours was the fourth iteration, if I'm not mistaken. So he even tried sealing his own tubes. So putting it into tubes and sealing it. In his words, it was extremely expensive and it never actually sealed. So it would just oxidize inside of the tube that he was sending out. So when we ultimately spoke with him, he found it, I think he described it as we were like his guardian angel. And because he said it didn't make sense for him. It didn't make sense in the pandemic to be driving around. He drove around on his Harley and he was dropping off hair color at people's doors. And he said that, and he was telling them, use it right away, knocking on the door. And he said it didn't make sense. There wasn't really that profit margin there. But once he was using our technology, he was able to send it through the mail. He was able to send it to people who went away during the pandemic. He was able to send out multiple color kits. But since the pandemic, because he's operating almost as regular business at this point, and he's selling a color kit, more than one, every single day, because people leave after they get a balayage and they take a toner kit with them, or people are calling up from out of the city, people that may have worked with him previously, or people that just found him through online sources. And so what it's done is it's opened up an entirely new revenue stream for him that is outside of that brick and mortar presence. So he sees himself less as just a salon that's based in Toronto and more as a salon that can serve anyone regardless of what their needs are, but always in a convenient way because of our technology.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things that I know has definitely happened in our industry, especially with some of the salons that I talk to that are slower, is their clients. I think that over the pandemic also, we saw, one time it was 4 to 6 weeks in between coloring. And then it was, 6 to 8 weeks. And over the pandemic, consumers' habits have changed and they found out they wouldn't blow up if they actually colored their hair. And so we do see this almost that long space between the clients returning if they're doing their hair at home, and a lot of them are in between now, both for budgeting as well as convenience, obviously. But then when the client does come back, it's like the salon is doing corrective color because they have to refix that.
Absolutely.
So I could really see, we were talking about give back and how we can really help people. And I think that as a service, and to develop it as a service, there's no reason that one couldn't even do a subscription to help these people out. Like we used to actually color clients' hair every 3 weeks. I do mine every 3 weeks. So if there's a 6-week client, I can really see that if they could maintain that, even at home in between, would be a wonderful thing to do.
Absolutely. And there are a few topics in what you said. The first being is people are, and we're seeing it across the board, are extending out their appointments. And for the most part, it's not for financial reasons. It's for convenience reasons. Salons are able to see less people at one time. So it also, in a way, works with our books, but it really hurts our revenue and ultimately our profit. I was on a panel not a few weeks ago, and Nick Arrojo was talking about how 20 years ago we had a weekly client. 10 years ago we had a client every 2 weeks, and it's just gotten longer and longer, the period of time between appointments. And today he said we have a client every 6 months. And if you think about how hard it is, one, to retain a client in this industry, and two, to acquire a new client, that is a scary reality. And we must be looking at ways to increase the value of each one of those clients, because they're not coming in every 6 months, not because like I said, they don't have the money, but because we're not offering the service in the way they want it at all times. We need to be able to serve them in a convenient way where they are when they want it.
Mhm.
And that's what we really have seen, and that's what we're proud that our technology offers. But on what you were saying also about the people who color their hair at home, look, 73% of people color their hair outside of a salon. And I know when I said that on the panel, sitting next to Larissa Love and Nick Hirosha, the audience, their eyes just widened, like, what? But that's the truth. And it's a huge market. There's a huge number of people that do it. And there's a huge number of people that also color their hair outside the salon in between appointments. So they get highlights done with you or a haircut, they're
Mhm.
coloring their hair, they're going to Shoppers if they're in Canada, or CVS if they're in the US. And that's something where you can really fill the gap with
Mhm.
your expertise and your know-how and the better products that we have that in our salon compared to the boxes they have at those stores. And that's really a huge business model shift that we see is something that needs to happen. It's not a nice to have. It needs to happen in order for salons to hit a new level of prosperity.
Mhm. Well, the first thing that struck me, like when I think about your technology, I see it as something that will be standard in our industry. Like that you will buy a hair dryers when you're opening sinks, and your Omni wand. Because I don't know as when you look at what the consumer still runs the business. Like, and if you're not really being consumer centric and aiming at what it is that they want, you can fight the wave as long as you want to have it. But I just don't think that there's ever going to be any going back.
Well,
And you can count on it that the Madison Reeds, and look at them now. I downloaded, you wait till I've got a little program coming this afternoon, you guys, where I'm just going to talk about diving into really maximizing this whole idea of fitting yourself into that market, because the market's not going to fit itself into the salon. So you're just going to see Madison Reed, E-Color, L'Oreal's Color Box. You're just going to see them get better because they really, they're all about the consumer and tracking what they want, and they are all about filling that need.
yeah, well, thanks for what you said about our technology. We built it around making sure that salons were, one, able to keep their doors open and continue earning revenue and profit during the pandemic. And right now we see it as the key to an upward trajectory in growth and employment in our amazing industry. You mentioned these other online hair color services, and yes, you're right. They're focused around providing the customer with what they want, because they are taking clients away from salons and saying to them, hey, we have a pretty good service essentially. It's convenient, it costs less, come try us. And then they retain that client. The salons that have our technology have actually been able to reverse that trend. And that's been very, very positive in our eyes as an effect of this. But you talk about how it's all about the customer. And a lot of times I like to compare it to other things in business, because what's happening right now in the salon industry is not somehow unique to the history of business. You can see it time and time again, whether it's, look, everyone watches Netflix today, and almost no one can even picture a Blockbuster store. But
Mhm.
Blockbuster was way in the lead, had a huge market lead over the startup called Netflix, but Netflix knew what the customer wanted. Blockbuster thought that people wanted in person, to be able to grab their DVDs and go home. And unfortunately, that sounds very similar to where we are in the salon industry and where we have been for decades and decades. Come in and see me. That's the only way I'll work with you.
Mhm.
But we have to be able to shift to what I call the omni-channel presence. The omni-channel presence, which is the reason why retailers are still able to pull profits and went from being in a very bad position probably around a decade ago to a lot of them being in a good position, because they work between a store in person, online sales channels, and other virtual channels in order to maximize their revenue, profit, and meet the customer where they want to be. We want to make sure ultimately that we're more like Netflix than we are like Blockbuster. And
Mhm.
that will take introspective look to understand how we can do that. And our technology is a big part, but it's only part of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's always going to be about what's going on in your mind. Do you know, like you can bucket as long as you want. I know Netflix offered Blockbuster $50 million a year before they went bankrupt. So, you know, sometimes it's really easy to walk through with blinders on and say, no, I'm just going to continue doing the way that I'm doing it. But I mean, I can tell you right now, I work on the ground, you know, with owners all the time, on just regular, and they are just a little, they're slower. Their model is crumbling a little bit, and they're not doing, you know, what they once did. And I do think it's a matter of, in my mind, am I going to like hold tight to the way I think things should be? Or can I just sort of step outside and go, well, what if, you know, like instead of going, oh no, I can make them come in every 6 weeks.
Why would you want that? That's the question that I ask a lot of salon owners and stylists. Why would you want someone to come in and say every 4 weeks to get a root touch-up done when you can be using that time for something that can't be done at home? That you can't do a haircut virtually. You can't do a balayage virtually. You can't do highlights virtually. Those are higher ticket, higher profit margin items. Optimize your schedule in order to make sure that you have the lifestyle you want and you're able to earn the money you want. Because trading time for money is a recipe for staying on a treadmill. You want to be making money in your business, whether you're there, whether you're awake or you're sleeping. And that's never been possible in our industry before. And the more that we looked at that when we created this technology, the more we realized how essential this was to the salon industry. As you said, there's so many salon owners and stylists that are working themselves to death. We're seeing our clients, many of them are success stories in the sense that they're able to earn the same amount that they did before the pandemic, yet they're able to work less days. We have other salon owners that want to make more money and hit a higher level of success in their mind and bringing more clients. And they're working the same amount of days, let's say 5 days a week, but earning a lot more money because they have multiple revenue streams. They'll be okay if something happens to them. Let's say, God forbid, something happens medically to them. They're also able to make sure that that revenue stream is still there and they're still able to serve their clients. So there's a lot of advantages to this. And I truly believe that for this industry, not only for the upward trajectory, but for the actual existence of a lot of the salons that exist today and will be opening in the next few years, is this is an essential tool. You say the standard. I actually believe that if a salon doesn't have multiple revenue streams in the next 2 to 3 years, then they will not survive in the next 5 years from today.
Well, the consumer is less concerned about, believe it or not, I mean, it's crazy, but they want what they want. Let's just say that. And so
when they want it.
And so if I, for some reason, broke my toe and couldn't come in to see you, and you start telling me, oh, that's okay, let's rebook you in 3 weeks because that's what works for you. I'm like, yeah, no. You know, I'm going to go and get this done. I'm going to go buy I'm not going, like, I color my hair every 3 weeks. I'm not going to like wait for 6 because I broke my toe. And so I'm either going to go to another salon or I'm going to go and pick up the color box. Like a haircut, like you say, if nobody cuts my hair but LJ, do you know what I mean? Because you kind of got that figured out.
You don't want me cutting your hair.
I cut my own hair, so I'm sure you could do better than this. I just take the razor and remove what shouldn't be there. But so I do think that that we're definitely there at color. Your high ticket services, you had mentioned that. I know salons now that's their specialty. They only want to do high ticket color. That all of that root business, those root touch-up business is really, you've got that client in there now. Oh, I'm just getting my roots done. You know, that should only be this much money, you know, and they're used to that much money. And yet you could have those high ticket services in there and get your your root touch-ups. Like I could really see, I like the subscription model and loyalty programs. I'm really kind of digging that a lot. But if you had like a subscription with your root touch-ups where you only had to see them every other time, and you actually equip them to kind of do that in the interim, and now you can kind of, like you say, make space for some of those high ticket colors. Love the toning too, because that's another thing. I think when I think anybody who does a lot of balayages, that color is perfect for about 10 days. We know that. That's why we give them the purple shampoos, and we're always looking for the better long lasting toners to sort of keep them from having to come in to get a toning service every 10 days to 2 weeks, which they absolutely could, but to send them home with that.
So it's funny you mentioned the purple shampoos. I actually know of a lot of color-only salons that don't even sell purple shampoos anymore because they said that it's a lose-lose in the sense that the client doesn't use it enough and then they think that it doesn't work, or they use it too much and it creates
mud.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come in and they say that the shampoo that they sold them was crap.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many salons that are thanking us every day for this new service. As you said, balayages are the it thing right now. And it's amazing. Like when people walk out of the salon, they love their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is the toner because their hair's so shiny, it's vibrant. But unfortunately, in 2, 3, 4 weeks, it starts wearing out. And I don't need to convince any of you. You all know this already. But most people, they don't have the time, and you don't really want them, for the most part, to come back in for a toner.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense financially unless that's really your whole thing. You're charging for it, and it's really hand-holding white glove service. But then again, who has the time if someone's a busy professional or even a mother? Who has the time to come in every 4 weeks for a toner?
Mm-hmm.
What this allows for is for you to do a balayage customer and to seal up a toner for them to take home. The exact same toner that you're using in the salon, that you use on their hair the day of the service, and tell them that. Tell them, use this, act like a hair color pharmacist. Take this home, use this in 4 weeks, and I'll even walk you through how to use it the first time to make sure that you get the right results. You actually apply this to their hair so you know the proper time to let it process. So you can tell them, set it for 11 minutes and then rinse it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the results are magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
People then, they'll call you up. They'll tell their friends. They'll say, look, my hair isn't just amazing when I leave the salon. It's amazing after I use the service. So it's amazing all the time. From the moment I leave the salon, the whole time. If it's 6 months, then you're still earning revenue, and you're still making that client happy and wowing them the whole time. Today, services aren't just when someone's in your chair. The experience is seamless from the moment they become a client of yours to, well, they should never end being a client of yours, is the reality. So you've got to work with them even when they're not in your chair, because their hair is still your responsibility. And I know, Heather, you're going to mention about the revenue associated with that. That really gives you the opportunity to turn a balayage, which is already a high ticket, high profit margin item. Let's say that the average balayage is around $300, into something where instead of making $300 every 6 months, which when you break that down monthly, that's $50 a month. And in my opinion, I think that your time and your work is worth more than $50 a month for that client to earn from that client. With the toner service, you can turn this into $600 for every 6 months. And I can tell you, a lot of salons that were apprehensive and thinking that clients wouldn't pay for this have been surprised when people are enthusiastic about picking it up and reordering every month or every 2 months. It can up your revenue substantially, and it can quite literally double your profit.
Mm-hmm. You'd mentioned something there. I have a girlfriend. She followed me from my salon, believe it or not, like 30 years ago, and she would not go away. She's like banging my doors down. So she's the only person I really do. And now, of course, great friends. When I told her, because she always sees gold, it doesn't matter what I do. We all have clients like that. There's no winning, but she won't go away, right? When I told her to go and take this color home, she almost teared up. She was, do you know what? I can go and look at this in between, though she comes in more frequently than 6 months. She was so excited when I even offered her that opportunity, because really it's about getting the right color. Do you know, like when you know what you're doing as a stylist, you just have to get the right thing in their hand. If they go to the drugstore and they decide, oh, I just need to do this, because they're working hard. Madison Reed's working hard getting their business. Everybody is working hard to get your clients, our salon clients' business right now, saying, oh, better, so they're really working hard on that. So if I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, well, my hair is, if you don't give them the option, do you know what I mean? If you don't put these tools in their hand, somebody's going to. And when you were talking about taking that balayage client, I'm really big on subscriptions. I'm big on them personally. And I think if we start thinking about how we like to live our lives, I love it that things shown up at my door right when I need them. And they do that because I have subscriptions with these people. And in our lives as human beings, we're all so busy right now that anytime somebody will give me a little bit of my time back again, I'm always super stoked about that. And I think you may want to take your balayages initially and go, hey, try this. But it's such a winning formula and it's going to be so great that I think going from there into a subscription, now that's just like done. And it's like, okay, talk to you now.
So I actually have a strategy for the people on here. So it's not only about having them say yes to it initially. I realized that, look, this is a total flip of the script for you and your salon and for your clients. Your clients aren't gonna necessarily think, oh, my salon can send me home with stuff. Salons have always been in person, and you need to change that mindset. Is many of our salons, in order to successfully implement this owner into the balayage service or highlight service, they actually include it in the price. So they'll raise the price of their balayage, let's say, by $30. So it kind of almost kills two birds with one stone. You're able to raise your prices while also providing more of a service. So you're not just providing empty value. They're saying to you, wow, like I'm getting all this extra value, and you're able to start a habit for them. Because once they realize that it's super easy for them to do, that you'll be there helping them, that this is the exact product that they had done on their hair at the salon, they'll want more of it. And it's going to happen. We've seen it time and time again. So it's a great strategy to really kick it off and put it on a strong foot.
Mm-hmm. I think talking about it is a lot. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be, I think just leaving it sit in the salon. I don't know if you have any situations or clients who do this until the moment pushes them into it. Like, oh no, I'm going away. What am I going to do without you? And then it's like an afterthought, it's like, oh, you know what I can do for you? Do you know, instead of just sort of waiting for the customer to ask for this, they don't know, like you were saying, they don't even know you have, that the salons would have this tool unless they do a certain amount of marketing. So I think it is something that you want to launch and you want to talk a lot about. You probably see.
Yeah, absolutely. And every salon markets it a bit differently, just as every salon markets their salon and their in-person services differently.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we've seen a lot of successful strategies from having all the stylists talk about it, showing them what can be done with it. All of the containers are white labeled to your salon, so you actually have someone on the station and explain to the clients what you have. And to that end, I actually have seen that be a great referral strategy that we've taught to salons, because most people, they only talk about hair with their friends that they know go to a salon. But there's a lot of people that they're out at lunch with someone and they know that they use box color, and they don't talk about their salon or who they're visiting or all that stuff. But now what this has done is it's allowed people who have been clients of yours for a number of years, who are raving fans of yours, to sit there with their friends that might otherwise color their hair from CVS or Shoppers and say, hey, you know what my salon just got in? They now can send you hair color. You should totally reach out to this salon.
Mhm.
And that's an amazing strategy, a grassroots strategy that costs you nothing and will make your clients really excited about sharing this with their family and friends.
Mhm. Yeah, I think taking some of those things that we do, like membership subscriptions and referrals, and sort of bringing them, dragging them into, this new push that we've had for on technology and new services and new things I can see how a referral program would work stellar. You just with working with the client base that you have.
Yeah. And the great thing is, so you mentioned about a push for new services and technology, is while I'm in technology, I'm not an advocate for technology that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is technology has to fit into what your goals are and your workflow is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we created this. It was built around serving you and helping you serve the client the way the client is looking to be served.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely easy to use. But that's the key, is the gap is between you serving people when they most want to be served.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the bridge to bridge that. And I'm one that truly believes that when it comes down to it, people want to work with a professional. So it's a no-brainer that they're going to turn to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been super excited, period, I've been talking to you about this since the moment I heard it, because to me it just makes so much sense for our salons. And for me, I just think that I think that again, during the pandemic really peeled back how vulnerable our industry can be. I think that there's these times of chaos and that they call them, where actually there's such a push and a change that you can either become part of it or you become obsolete. And it really breaks my heart in this industry when I look and I scan around and I read all of the posts that I see in Facebook, private Facebook groups all across the nation, all across the world, when I'm seeing people who've been in the industry just throwing up their hands and going, I should just quit. Because they don't really know what options they should have. They're running into their clients in Walmart, not even realizing they haven't seen them for a year. And so where are they going, and how do we bring this back? The consumer, I think, has just become very, very demanding. Like they have this really strong expectation of what exactly they want. And
so I think it's horrible that people are throwing up their hands, because there's so much opportunity in this industry. And there's so many people that color their hair ultimately, that the way that I look at this is, we're giving you technology, we're putting it in your hands and empowering you to say, hey, right now, 28% of people come in and see you on a regular basis for hair color in salon. We're going to open up that whole market for you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason to feel that ever again that you're competing with another salon. You're competing ultimately to show your community why you are superior in terms of service and product to box color online services. You do that, you're going to win every day for sure. But the fact that the customer is demanding and they know what they want is also a gift to you, because you now have the ability to serve them. So they're telling you what they want. So it's pretty simple. Go serve them.
Yeah. When you were saying like 28%, this was really, I found this really interesting when you were telling me 28% only are clients that only get their hair done in the salon. 28% of women. That's stupid small. And when you look at how many women
it's shrinking.
Yeah.
That's pre-COVID numbers. So since COVID, it's actually affected it. And we don't have an accurate count on it since COVID. And I'm sure it changes all the time. But I can tell you that these online services are working hard in order to take those clients away from you in greater numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes down to it, not all dollars are the same. Is we want to be growing our market share also, because that sets us up for sustainable growth into the future. Because I for one believe that it's an industry that hasn't seen its pinnacle yet. We have to embrace this, and soon people are going to be looking at us as a huge success case.
Mm-hmm.
And my firm belief is that our technology is going to be the backbone of that. But it takes all the people who are actually working and having salons in order to carry it out and make that a reality.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and they'll get good. I think again over the pandemic, we taught people how to do hair. Do you know what I mean? We had out of a desperate need, and so it's not like they didn't blow up, and they found out they didn't blow up. So I would be surprised to not see that 28% that it has definitely shrunk. But when you look at it, at myself, I color my hair every 3 weeks, and the aging woman. I mean, I'm 62, and I'm having no part of it. Do you know, like when I look in the mirror, the minute I see that disconnect between how I feel and how I'm looking, I'm throwing some color on there. I'm 100% white. I'm not doing it. And so when you got this whole generation who just, they're not having any of it. And I don't even think it's vanity. I think it's just there's that disconnect. And so the color market is growing, is what I'm saying, because people just keep on getting older. But
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. It's actually growing at an 8% growth rate, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
And your rationale is spot on. So it's growing because of an aging population, but it's also growing because more and more men are also coloring their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, men are more comfortable doing this at home than doing it in a salon.
Mm-hmm.
And so Heather, you were speaking with the other Heather Wendman last night, and she has a whole service for men because, as she mentioned, she's also a certified licensed barber. And so she has a hair color service at home for men. And it's also been a success along with her for women hair color services, but also younger and younger people are coloring their hair. And I can tell you, when teenagers are coloring their hair, they're going to be even more price sensitive. And it's also going to be harder to get them in when you want to be working, because other than Saturdays, they might not be available until after they're done with school, after they're done with their homework. So doing it and having it where they can pick it up or you send it out to them can help you capture that market as well.
Yeah, talking about widening the market, because that was something that, Heather Winman, I mean, she's very passionate about being able to serve her entire community. And I love that so much, because I just think if we start serving our lives in our communities, I believe we will profit. You can't go out and do a bunch of good and not win. You can't. It's just, you can call it karma, call it whatever you want. And so I just think if we just keep pushing forward, not chasing the dollar and looking at, I call it tripping over dollars to pick up nickels, when you start thinking about, oh no, that's going to take away some of my color business. And I just think if you just massively give. And when she talks about widening her market and hitting all the markets, she wants to be able to serve all the people. When you start looking at her salon, where I just know, their level of, Heather Winman, like, shut up. Like, if there's something out there she hasn't won yet, then she best get on it, and so I erroneously said, well, I know that you're working with, like a AAA based clientele. And she just like right now, she's just like, no, hey, I'm about my entire community. And so when she, I wonder if I lost him. He seems to have disappeared. Anyway, I'm going to carry on as though he's coming back. I don't know where you went. It's just like, okay, I'm talking to myself, which then I remembered I'm pretty comfortable talking to myself. Anyway, she was talking about how she likes to serve her entire community. And this is just such a way to do that. When you look at the young people who maybe don't have the budget, maybe they're doing each other's hair. The girls are getting together and doing their hair at home. And when you can actually not only hit that, but the men, or the woman who, heaven forbid, just can't afford to come in right now, because you've got people out there who've got more money to spend, and those who are just like struggling. Like, you gotta take that into consideration also. Don't you think that this would be a great gift for Christmas? Like, not the machine, but buy your husband a bunch of Thrivo kits. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So many, there's just so many applications. For anybody who is interested, I believe at 4 o'clock today, I'm going to go and I'm going to actually break down. I'm going to break down. I even have templates for you for free. Just some of the markets and how you would be able to present this better to your community and to your stylist. Because I know, many owners are sitting here going, oh, my stylist will freak out. They'll think that there's just a whole bunch of things that people believe that aren't true. And I think that for something to be true, it has to be true all the time. And so if I could just even show you instances where all of those challenges that I've even heard that you might be coming up with, I'm going to talk about those a little bit. And not only talk how you can feed your current marketplace and grow it there, how are we going to talk to the consumer about it? I'm going to talk about those types of things today at 4 o'clock, along with how to use your apprentices. I'm really big on making color profitable. This has hit so many of the marks for that desire that I have, in so much as those root touch service, just the fact that they're using up your real estate and your time for a smaller amount of money, that maybe we can just make that part of color be more profitable. As well as, I'm all about express colors and roots and runs and 10-minute services, because as a woman, the thing that I value the most is my time. Both of these serve me as a consumer. And so I want to talk about that a little bit later. So is there anything you'd like to just end with here or talk about before we shut it down here?
Oh, no, I think that what you're doing is great because, like I said, this is a new service. This is a whole new mindset for salons, whole new business model. We're not saying get rid of your in-person. We're saying expand it. Make your business more lucrative and easier in truth. And target more customers. Before we came on, we were talking about there's only 3 ways to increase your business. It's bring in more customers, 1, have those customers spend more, which is 2, or have them come in and spend more frequently. And what this does is this new business model, which this little thing enables, it's actually allowing for all 3. And so I think that having a coach actually show you how to implement this successfully is an important component to it. And I just want to say that anyone on here that wants to get an Omni One, reach out to us. Mention that Heather is the one that told you about it, and we'll make sure we have a special promotion going on for October. So you want to pick it up soon, and we'll make sure that you're successful.
Yeah, and anybody who is interested in getting involved with the Thrivo technology, I actually have like a solid program I'm working with, and that goes to anybody who's my client or not my client that would like to sort of tap into that, because it's something I've sort of systemized. It's just a little different for me than when you're in the salon, because when you're in a salon, you sort of see your environment, and we think that that's real. So when you could take somebody who's outside who sees this and this and this and this and this, we just have a different bird's eye view. And so it's not like I know everything or anything more than you do, because, but when you start seeing successes here and there, because I'm always asking you, what you people doing? Like, what's winning? First thing with like Heather, like, what are you doing? Because I can't know. And every salon is so unique.
And everyone does something different. And it's really fun when you get to hear what a salon in California might be doing, and then hear what a salon in Florida might be doing, and then Toronto, and then Vancouver, and even your backyard, Heather, in Alberta with Carla. And I'm excited to hear what Carla's doing.
I'm having Carla on here, so she's going to be on as a special guest, everybody. Carla is in a small town in rural Alberta, so she's such a great example for so many of the things I talk about.
And she's a rock star.
And she's just a girl in a small town in Alberta. And so to me, just to take somebody who's just you, and she's not just, got a big salon and a gajillion, a huge metropolis with a bunch of staff. She's just a salon with a girl who saw the possibility in so many things. And so I just really appreciate her attitude. And I know she actually even has opened a division called BB Color. Like she sees the bigger picture. So she wants to go all the time. Some people are always like this. I get it. They want to go from here to there. You know, they don't want to climb the ladder. They're just going to go start here at the top. And so yeah, so she just launched a whole she launched a whole division, and her goal is, like Heather was saying, she's shipping. Heather Winman is shipping her color.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Heather Wemman has a larger, amazing salon. We have everyone down to salon suite owners. This is an accessible technology. We've priced it so that it's accessible to everyone, because we don't want anyone left out. We want this to be something that changes the way you perform your work and really benefits you and your customers.
You actually do a monthly thing, don't you now?
We do.
Where people can.
Yep. Yeah. So, and it will start right here. So this is actually a new thing. And so this is the first time we're announcing it, but you can actually get an Omni for $100 to start. So, and then it would be $100 each month, and it comes with some features which we can talk about when you reach out. I don't want to bore everyone with the details, but it's very affordable.
You want to know the details.
It's very affordable for you. And right away, if you sell 2 color kits, you're breaking even. And I can tell you that most salons are selling more than that in one day.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it comes, we train you on the technology, which is super simple. We provide you with a starter kit to get going with the jars. We provide you with professionally designed labels. So this is one of the labels from a salon that was actually just featured in Salon today. There's a whole article about Color Lab and Palm Sunday, who were hitting tremendous success from using our technology. And so it just came out, so you can actually look that up. But
in Salon magazine?
In Salon Today magazine.
Today?
Yeah. So, but definitely reach out to us with any questions you have, and I'd love to speak with anyone. It's always fun to meet new people and hear their experiences.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. You're a rock
Thanks
star,
for having me.
And I look forward to further conversations, because, like, hey, you're amazing.
Yeah, Heather, this has been amazing. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing everyone else's interview, because this has been such a great idea. You providing all this value to people is tremendous.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Alan Audette in a couple of hours, I think. 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. And he's going to talk about marketing and being on Omni channels and how important that is, and the emailing. And I just think that just sort of looping people into possibilities. You know?
That is amazing. And I can say it's definitely worth watching, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, you have a great day. And
thanks so much.
Bye. Bye, everybody.